Yahweh Bashim Shai Bashim Harakakodash. I want to give honor to the apostles of Great Millstone who want to teach well, and the hearty shalom to those for elect. All right, it's your brother Quet is up back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Shai, and we're going to discuss trusting in the Lord, all right, and give an example, all right, because we're going to come into the times. All right, every day as another day passes in everyday life, or as the world turns, and another 24 hours show, we get closer to the prophecy where we're going to be persecuted for the name of the Lord, all right? And before I get into that, let me tell you what the reward of those that are going to be persecuted for the Lord is going to be. All right, I'm reading out of the Annotated Oxford Bible Dictionary, all right? All right, and it says here, this is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 10. It says, "Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. And the name of Yahweh Shema Shai is righteous." Okay, trusting in the Lord is a righteous thing. Okay, following after the ways and the purpose of Yahweh Shema Shai is a righteous thing, and you're going to be persecuted for that. All right, it says, "For theirs is the kingdom of heaven." So, the scriptures say, "Through much tribulation, you shall you enter into the kingdom." All right, so with that persecution, all right, you're going to get a hefty reward with it. All right, and who knows what the kingdom of heaven is going to be like? We can't even fathom it in our minds what the Lord has set up for His people, man. All right, the scriptures say, "I have not seen it, ear have not heard what the Lord has or will do for those that love Him." Just roughly paraphrase. Okay, so if you're willing to stand to the test of death for the Lord, the kingdom of heaven is going to be for you, and it's going to be great. All right. It says, "Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely," because that's what's going to happen. That's part of persecution. "On my account, on the account of the Lord," because you serving the Lord, and people said this and people said that and people did this and people brought you before whomever. All right, you're going to be blessed, and blessed means to be happy. All right, it says here, "Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." All right, the prophets got persecuted. Believers of the Lord got persecuted. All right, and that's what's going to happen to us, man. All right, this is uh, this is why we got to trust in the Lord. This is Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5. It says, "Trust in Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai with all your heart, and do not rely on your own insight." And our insight will lead us to, if we're not rooted and grounded in the belief of Yahweh Shema Shai, our insight would allow us to be swayed into taking the easy road. Okay, our insight can allow us to be swayed to taking that RFID chip, all right, to avoid death or pain, especially if you're afraid, right? But the Lord gives us a reason to not be afraid. Okay, all right, and He is the reason, because He's the one that's in control of things seen and unseen. Okay, all right, it's Yahweh Shema Shai that's in control of everything. Isaiah tell you that the Lord controls the good and the evil. All right, so when we face with persecution or threatened behind something or someone for the persecution, for the proclamation, for proclaiming Yahweh Shema Shai, then just go with it, man. Just roll the punches, man, because that's going to be the best outcome for you, because everybody else is going to receive death on that end, all right? So, but trust in the Lord, right? So here goes a quick example of strong men who trusted in the Lord in the face of persecution, all right? And we have to remember the acts of these noble men, okay? As of right now, I'm going to read to you about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, okay? All right, there was an image set up for worship, just like Esau Edom has an image set up for worship. And this time it's multiple things: money, the church system, the woman, materialistic things. All those things is what Esau has set up for people to worship, right? And we have to be like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and not worship these things, all right? Or Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, all right? Their Hebrew names, okay? All right. So at the point where you get to when the point you get to where you're gonna have to, so like you start turning away things of the world because it's going to interfere with your walk in salvation, all right, is going to be when this CHIP comes up, all right? When this dollar goes away for good, which is on its way out the door, all right, and the CHIP comes to full fruition, all right, then you don't have to make a choice. You have to stand strong like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You have to trust in the Lord, all right? Even though you may be scared, you may be afraid, you may not know what to do next, you may not know what's going to happen next, but trust in Yahweh Shemel Shai, all right, like they did, all right? So I'm going to just get straight to the point. I got to go back to work here in a few minutes, all right? But this is Daniel chapter 2 and verse 13. Then Nebuchadnezzar in furious rage commanded that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought in. So they brought those men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar said to them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods and you do not worship my golden statue that I have set up? And this is the mindset that we got to be in, right? To not worship other gods, to not take a part of the beast system and what Esau Edom is doing to basically further his destruction, because that's what it is. He's furthering his destruction. All right, when you read it in the book of Job, I believe it's the 20th chapter, where it says that the Lord's gonna he's not gonna establish an enterprise, and when Esau Edom's belly is full, when the Lord fills his belly, the Lord's gonna rain destruction on him. All right. So everything Esau Edom is doing is to a point of destruction, and you don't want to be a part of that point of destruction. So worshiping idols is gonna lead to a point of destruction for you and for the so-called white man. Okay. It says here. It says here. Now if you are ready when you hear the sound of the horn, the pipe, the lyre, the trigon, harp, drum, and entire musical ensemble to fall down and worship the statue that I made, well and good. But if you do not worship, you shall immediately be thrown into a fire, into a furnace of blazing fire. And who is the power that will deliver you out of my hands? And we're going to hear these threatening words. They're going to be more harsh than this, okay? They're going to be like, hey, I'm going to kill your so-and-so, or I'm going to cut fingers off, or I'm going to do something, all right, in order to put fear in you to comply, all right? But what you have to do is trust in the Lord and not lean on your own understanding, all right? And there could be any instance, and there's many instances in life where something should have hurt you and it didn't, all right? Or if it hurt you for a second and then you just went on about your day. Or if it did hurt you, the pain was there and it didn't stay for long, because the Lord can numb out the pain, all right? And that's an instance where that can be done for you, all right? You can do that. That can happen to you again, or it can happen to you, like in instance with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, all right? We're going to read this. We're going to keep going. All right, because we know Yahweh is the power that can deliver us out of anybody's hand, because Yahweh is the one that put us in a position to be in the hands of our enemy. All right, Yahweh Shema Shai Salakia, all right, can deliver us, all right, because they're the ones that put us in the hands of our enemy. So they're going to deliver us out of the hands of our enemy. Trust that, believe that, right? So it says here, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to present a defense to you in this matter. And the scriptures say, the Lord says that he's going to give us the basically the speech or the words that we need to say, so our enemies won't be able to gainsay us, all right? So we're not going to have to sit there and conjure up or try to think of certain words to say when they come at us with their rhetoric and the discussions of, basically killing you or your family members or something harmful to your family members, right? Don't be in the mindset of, I'm going to say this. The Lord's going to give us the answer to speaking. We got to trust that. It's in the book of Luke. I believe it's like 21. You know what? Let me get it. I think it's 21. Yeah, it's Luke 21 and 13. This will give you an opportunity to testify. So make up your minds not to prepare your defense in advance, for I will give you words and wisdom that none of your opponents will be able to withstand or contradict. So don't sit here and try to say what you're going to say or think you're going to say what you want to say. The Lord's in control of your tongue, all right? Every breath is sanctioned by the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai, okay? All right, so let's go back to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because they didn't need to defend themselves, all right? And we're not going to need to defend ourselves because the Lord's going to be there fighting for us, man, all right? It says, if our power, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the furnace of blazing fire out of your hand, O king, let him deliver us. But if not, be it known to you, O king, we will not serve you, your gods, and we will not worship the golden image that you set up. And that's the mindset that you got to be in. This shows that they trust in the Lord. All right, and we have to show the Lord that we trust in Him by our actions. All right, and this is the actions that you want to take, or part of the actions that you want to use. All right, when you're facing adversity or persecution that's coming, is courage. All right, the Lord told Joshua, and He's telling us to be full of courage, man. Let me grab it. This is Joshua chapter 1 and verse. I'm gonna start at 5. No one shall stand against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. So we got to take this into our account. The Lord's not gonna fail us or forsake us. All right, we got to trust that. All right, it says here, be strong and courageous, for you shall put this people in possession of the land that I swore to their ancestors to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, being careful to act in accordance with all the law that my servant Moses commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, so that you may be successful wherever you go. So when it's time for danger, or you're afraid, or some type of persecution that's going to come, we got to remember what the Lord told Joshua, that we need to be strong and very courageous, man. Okay, because the persecution is going to come to the point where you're going to see your family members put to death, or your family members are going to see you put to death. Okay, you cannot be afraid. All right. So going back to Daniel chapter 2, because Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego wasn't afraid, and I'm sure they had families, all right, living in Babylon. I'm sure they had kids and a wife or wives or whatever the case may be, and they weren't up to the point where, all right, I'm not gonna forsake Yahweh Shemel Shai to stay alive a little bit longer, or to stay around with my family, worship the other God. Fuck that, man. All right, worship Yahweh Shemel Shai only and trust in the Lord. All right, so let's go back here. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar was so filled with rage against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, his face was distorted. He ordered the furnace heated up 7 times more than was customary, and ordered some of the strongest guards in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to throw them in the into the furnace of blazing fire. And this is what we could go through in a different form, right? Esau Edom could have you sitting down on a chair somewhere, and he could have like, I don't know, like a swinging blades going back and forth, and every time it goes back and forth, it gets closer to your body, and then it starts cutting at you, man. Who knows what Esau Edom's going to do? But the whole point is to trust in the Lord. The whole point is to not be afraid. Even when you see things that could cause you severe pain, all right? Don't be afraid, man. Even when you see things that, could cause people to be put to death, don't be afraid. That is when you put that trust in the Lord, because, hey, that's when you're going to need it, all right? It says here, so the men were bound, still wearing their tunics and trousers and their hats and their other garments, and they were thrown into the furnace of blazing fire, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace was overheated. The raging flames killed the men who lifted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. There you go. The Lord can have the men that's trying to put you to death be put to death. We don't know how it's going to go, but the whole point is to trust in the Lord, man, in everything, man. All right. It's easier said than done, but when things don't go right in your day to day, that's when you should jump on the trusting in the Lord bandwagon. Okay. All right. And then when things do go right in your life, you should still be on that trusting in the Lord bandwagon, man. Because the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, Yahweh's going to take his right hand, which is Yahweh Shai, and take all those individuals that truly trust in him and that's in that bandwagon. He's going to lead them to the kingdom, man. And you want to be on that bandwagon, man. You want to be on the tailcoat of those of Yahweh Bashim Shai, because you trust in the Lord, man. All right. like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did, okay? All right, but the three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the furnace of blazing fire. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and rose up quickly. He said to his counselors, "Was it not three men that were bound and that were through bound that we threw bound into the fire?" They answered the king, "O true, O king." He replied, "But I see four men unbound walking in the middle of the fire, and they are not hurt. And the fourth has the appearance of a power, of a god." And we know that Yahweh Shema Shai is going to be with us, man. All right, and everything that we do. Let's say if there's, the scriptures say that when there's two or three gathered to my name, two or three gather in my name, I am there in the midst of them, right? So the Lord had three men, and they all stood for the purpose of Yahweh Shema Shai, and the Lord was literally in the midst of them while he was in the fire, while they were in the fire, man. How much more is the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai going to be there for us when we are standing up for the Lord in righteousness now? And then guess what? Who knows who we're going to be persecuted with? We may be persecuted with some other brothers, man, and there's going to be two or three or more brothers there. And guess what? The Lord's going to be in the presence with us, man, and the Lord can deliver us from out of that persecution, man. All right, but the whole point is to trust in the Lord and not lean into your own understanding, man. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they trusted in the Lord. Yahweh Shai trusted in Yahweh. All right, and Yahweh Shai, he was delivered, man. All right, he came through, did his thing for that as a sacrifice for the nation of Israel. Then he came back, all right, as he said he was, and he showed himself to the people. Then he went up there to live with the Lord. He suffered the persecution that he had nothing to do with, but only we did. When I say only we did, read Isaiah the 53rd chapter, man. All right, we was the ones that had the Lord set up to be a sacrifice because we the ones that went off, man. All right. But trust in the Lord, man. Just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was delivered out of persecution, so can you, man. You could be delivered out of persecution. And remember, those that receive or go through the persecution for righteousness in the name of the Lord, they're going to be blessed, man. So remember that the persecution is only a step to the blessing, man. Lord will use edify to the next time. Shalom.